Good morning, students. In our last class, we discussed about education, what education means, and its objectives. We see that education is all round development in short. This all round development means intellectual development, social development, moral development, physical development, and economic development. All the developments that needs that we need to live a happy and prosperous life. So on this basis, now we start the prose written by Nandalal Bose, The Place of Art in Education. This is an extract from his Drishti or Srishti, Vision and Creation. Here he made an analytical criticism on education system and lack of emphasis on art education in the conventional education system that are administered by different universities and boards. Let us start with para 1. In the para 1, Nandalal Bose made an analytical criticism or analytical comparison rather between conventional education and art education. And to compare, first he used language and its importance in education. As from one place to another place, we use vehicle to travel. Similarly, language performs the same function of a vehicle in education system. How? We read literature, science, philosophy, and other subjects in our different books. All these are written in languages, and these books are storehouse of knowledge. From this storehouse, knowledge transforms into our intellect, and to transform or to travel from book to our intellect, we need language. These three types of studies need language as the medium. So, in conventional education system, language has a great part. It is the way to express oneself, but it has some limitations. Primarily, knowledge gives education, this type of education gives us knowledge, and it also provides inner delight to some extent. What is inner delight? That is, in pleasure that one feels within himself or herself. But in this type of education, scope of expression is limited. And compared to the conventional education, art education is a great impact to has a great impact to express oneself. Rather, art education is very helpful to one to express himself better or herself better. Then, what are the aspects of art education? The art education does not need language like conventional education. Then, what does art education provides? Art education provides the following. It heightens knowledge, man's knowledge. The knowledge that we acquire from conventional education, from science, literature, philosophy, or other subjects of our conventional education, that knowledge is heightened by this art education. It heightens aesthetic experience. We get some inner delight from reading this. Then this inner delight is heightened through art education. That is, the art education gives us the fulfillment of the lack that we had in the conventional education. More importantly, art education trains a person in various modes of expressions. Think of a painting. A painting says a lot without language. Through colors and shades and other things are used here to express an idea. So, art education need no medium and it is not achieved through reading and writing. Here I can mention a person, a great sculpture painter, Ram Kinkar Beige. He had no formal education. He was almost illiterate, but his sculptures and paintings are widely well known. They are widely praised. Those who visited Shantiniketan and the museum and the Vishwabharati University, in front of that there is a sculpture of a family, a Shantal family is there. This is the masterpiece of Ram Kinkar Beige. He was a student of Nandalal Bose. So, you see here that art education is the counterpart actually of our conventional education. Then in para 2, Nandalal Bose is more critical and analytical. Here He says that educational institutions should give same emphasis or status with conventional education system. Which one? The art education. Art education should be judged or considered with the same and equal status or importance with the conventional education. But there is inadequate provision in universities and other educational institutions. Why? This is because of ignorance of the people, not only the common people but also the educated people, even shameless at not understanding art. They had no shame. They are not ashamed that they don't understand art. So the could not differentiate a German rapper with a Japanese doll. They cannot differentiate painting and photograph. Painting is more creative than photography. Our conventional education system does not provide us the knowledge to differentiate these two. And our cultural life is fanned out, but aesthetic feelings distressingly worsen. That is, our culture flourish day by day, and in the contrary, our aesthetic feelings, this sense of beauty in our mind, is deteriorating day by day. These are observations and analysis of Nandulal Bose between conventional education and art education. Why? Why does Nandulal Bose came to this point? Because a so-called educated persons can compensate because they set the standards of our education system and they are the idol for the people at large. What does it mean? This means what our so called educated people say is a God gifted call, God's word to the common people. The common people thinks he is educated and he said this is true. So he thinks only the educated people can compensate this condition of being worsening the aesthetic feelings, aesthetic sense among the common people. The common people thinks they are the last word. And they become the idol of the people at large. The common people set them as the idol of them, and they try to follow the so-called educated people. That's why Nandalal Bose thinks that so-called educated people can change the situation only if they they stand by the or they vote for the art education in the our so-called education system to introduce and give importance in our education system.